This morning I woke up and I was silly and I had all these things that I wanted to record. But now I'm all nervous and stuff because I have my nice microphone set up. I spent all this time like getting everything straight. And I got reference materials on my laptop too for stuff that I don't remember the lyrics to. So now I'm all nervous. I better not screw this up. Ulix is watching me. Hi, Ulix. Isn't he cute? I played a game with Ulix this morning. It was a game from Don Quixote by Miguel Cervantes. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It was the one where they get this big sheet, like a big blanket outside, and they put Don Quixote in the middle of it, and then there's like 6 guys holding it up, and they just like stretch out the blanket so it straightens, and then it makes him jump in the air. I was playing that game with Ulix and my comforter blanket. I can't recreate it now, but I wish something was recording when that happened, because I was having a great time. And so was Ulix. He thought he was enchanted by a wizard, preventing him from seeing his beloved. Yep. As you can see, I have a new hat. It's not actually new. It has been stretching on my headrest for like 6 days because I put it in the dryer and it shrunk. So I had to stretch it out for a while. See, I'm so nervous. Like, I have to like present this thing instead of just like going at it, which I was doing earlier. Man, I was thinking I should have a reality TV show. That'd be good, so that I wouldn't have to spend any effort to record any of this. It would just be recorded. But then I thought if I actually had one, it'd just be like 24 hours of me fapping, so I don't think anybody needs to see that. This is a poem that came to my mind, I think, one night ago. And I was like, I want to recite this. And I was a lot of it from memory, but it's so long I realized that I can't remember all this stuff. I tried to memorize it when I was 14. I got pretty far, but I don't remember it now. It's called Auguries of Innocence by William Blake. To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. A robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. A dove house filled with doves and pigeons shudders hell through all its regions. A dog, starved at its master's gate, predicts the ruin of the state. A horse misused upon the road calls to heaven for human blood. A fiber from the brain does tear each outcry from the hunted hare. A skylark wounded in the wing, a cherubim does cease to sing. The gamecock, clipped and armed for fight, does the rising sun affright. Every wolf's and lion's howl raises from hell a human soul. The wild deer wandering here and there keeps the human soul from care. The lamb misused breeds public strife, and yet forgives the butcher's knife. The bat that flits at close of eve has left the brain that won't believe. The owl that calls upon the night speaks the unbeliever's fright. He who shall hurt the little wren shall never be beloved by men. He who the ox to wrath has moved shall never be by woman loved. The wanton boy who kills the fly shall feel the spider's enmity. He who torments the Schaefer's sprite weaves a bower in endless night. The caterpillar on the leaf repeats to thee thy mother's grief. Kill not the moth nor butterfly, for the last judgment draweth nigh. He who shall train the horse to war shall never pass the polar bar. See? Polar bar. That's this guy, okay? You'll never get past him. That's why he's called polar bar, not polar bear. Got you? Got it? That's right, Ulix. You're a polar bar. He's not a real bear. Don't tell him that. What's that, Jonathan? Nothing, Ulix. Nothing. Go back to guarding my house. My mobile science house. The beggar's dog and widow's cat, feed them, and thou wilt grow fat. The gnat that sings his summer song, poison gets from slander's tongue. The poison of the snake and newt is the sweat of envy's foot. The poison of the honeybee is the artist's jealousy. The prince's robes and beggar's rags are toadstools on the miser's backs. A truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. It is right it should be so. Man was made for joy and woe. And when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing of the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with a silken twine. The babe is more than swaddling bands. Throughout all these human lands tools were made and born were hands. Every farmer understands. Every tear from every eye becomes a babe in eternity. This is caught by females bright and returned to its own delight. The bleat, the bark, the bellow and roar are waves that beat on heaven's shore. The babe that weeps the rod beneath writes revenge in realms of death. The beggar's rags, fluttering in air, does to rags the heavens tear. The soldier, armed with sword and gun, palsied strikes the summer's sun. The poor man's farthing is worth more than all the gold on Afric's shore. One mite wrung from the laborer's hands shall buy and sell the miser's lands. Or, if protected from on high, does that whole nation sell and buy? He who mocks the infant's faith shall be mocked in age and death. He who shall teach the child to doubt, the rotting grave shall never get out. He who respects the infant's faith triumphs over hell and death. The child's toys and the old man's reasons are the fruits of the two seasons. The questioner who sits so sly shall never know how to reply. He who replies to words of doubt doth put the light of knowledge out. The strongest poison ever known came from Caesar's laurel crown. Naught can deform the human race like the armor's iron brace. When gold and gems adorn the plough, to peaceful arts shall envy bow. A riddle or the cricket's cry is doubt a fit reply. The emmet's inch and eagle's mile make lame philosophy to smile. He who doubts from what he sees will never believe, do what you please. Never believe. He who doubts from what he sees will never believe, do what you please. If the sun and moon should doubt, they'd immediately go out. To be in a passion you good may do, but no good if a passion is in you. The whore and gambler by the state license build that nation's fate. The harlot's cry from street to street shall weave old England's winding sheet. The winner's shout, the loser's curse, dance before dead England's hearse. Every night and every morn, some to misery are born. Every morn and every night, some are born to sweet delight. Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to endless night. We are led to believe a lie when we see not through the eye, which was born in a night to perish in a night. When the soul slept in beams of light, God appears and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in the night. But does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day? Auguries of Innocence by William Blake. The rhyming pattern, it gets a little repetitive, but it's a lot of great content in there. And images, colors even, characters, animals, nature. I think this poem is fairly frequently quoted. I think a lot of the major parts of it that are quoted are the beginning: to see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. The idea that the small is big, the big is small, that scale is relative, and we can find a whole universe with the tiniest things. That there is repetition, there's a pattern in the universe, so that big and small are alike. There's nothing by nature separating the big from the small. They all behave according to the same principles. All the principles apply whether in a small scale or a large scale. And time, what is a minute of time, or an hour of time, or a lifetime of time compared to the infinity of time? Right? To see one's place as small within the universe, and have humbleness, and have compassion, but have understanding of each other. Realize that we're all similar. We're all kind of temporary visitors in this universe, and not to feel like we are the lords and masters of all that exists. No. To see a world in a grain of sand, How small is a grain of sand compared to me? I can dominate this world of this sand. But if I look at myself, I am just a grain of sand in a larger world. And beauty can come in many forms. Delight, love, the heaven, and just a flower, and a wildflower. So he makes a distinguish. It's not a domestic flower. It's not something you can just control and cause to happen the way you want. It's not there to serve your purpose. Right? It's there as a wildflower, but you appreciate its beauty. You don't try to engineer it to be beautiful for your taste. You just appreciate what it is for what it is. Infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. So all those small things that you can hold in your hand contain an infinite amount of information, knowledge, and wisdom if you look deep enough. And in 1 hour, take a look at the time scales of small things interacting and stuff. That's all you ever need in an hour. And then he goes through all these metaphors with animals. A robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. That was used in Hannibal. Which one was it called? Red Dragon? Whatever the dragon one was. With, what's that actor? Oh, I can't remember his name though. I just remembered it, then I just forgot it. I have internet, I can just look it up. Actor, he's very natural. Tries to be as realistic as possible. I forget his name. Now I'm lost myself. Oh yeah, I was thinking about famous lines from this poem. The ones I like, how about that? A dog starved at its master's gate predicts the ruin of the state. If you can't take care of your loyal citizens, your government will fall. A dog represents somebody with loyalty, who loves their master, and is willing to stick by him, die for him, do anything for him. But he's starved at his master's gate. He's starved, he's not being fed, but the gate itself is also important. It's barring him from entering. He's separated from his masters. So he's kept out. He's locked out. So this is a metaphor for a lot of things, keeping the lower class out of certain positions, opportunities. I think there's a baby outside. No, it's a dog. Yeah, the big gate that keeps everybody out and keeps the rich and privileged separated. I'm picturing a big manor with a long driveway and a large iron gate outside, and just a dog sitting there hungry because his master has neglected him. I like that one. A horse misused upon the road calls to heaven for human blood. That's alright. Each outcry from the hunted hare, a fiber from the brain does tear. I like that a lot. It's the pain. It's the fear. It doesn't just hurt the hare when you're hunting it. It hurts yourself. It tears away a piece of you each time you have to inflict something on somebody else. A fiber from the brain does tear. Just witnessing that, hearing it, seeing the suffering, the terror, that wide-eyed staring look right before it dies. It's like, it does something to you. The one I like a lot is the wild deer wandering here and there. Wandering. Although wandering is also a close sounding thing that would work. Although it wouldn't make much sense. Why would deer wander? But a wild deer wandering here and there keeps the human soul from care. I like that. It's so simple, but it's so peaceful and natural. Like, it doesn't require much from having feel lighthearted, carefree. It's just the freedom, the natural. It's a lot of people with dogs. It's just that freedom, carelessness, naturalness of a deer just being able to go wherever it wants. Keeps the human soul from care. Yeah, so sometimes it's just some natural, simple thing, like having some space, being able to take your time, go without being hunted. So that line, those two lines I like a lot. The wild deer wandering here and there, keep the human soul from care. I think that'd be a good thing on the plaque or something. And then the rest of the stuff, it's going on and on. It's okay. I think it's all decent, but none of it is that appealing to me until, well, he who shall train the horse to war shall never pass the polar bar. That's for this guy. He likes that line. He's talking about us. The poison of the snake and newt is the sweat of envy's foot is pretty clever, in my opinion. I don't think it's that great a line, but I think it's clever. The prince's robes and beggar's rags are toadstools on the miser's bags. That's clever, too. Here's the great one. A truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. I don't think this is an original idea when he said it, but it's in there. Is it that well said? It's okay, but it fits in it, and it's important, a thought, so I like it. And this whole thing about joy and woe, I think is meaningful. Man was made for joy and woe, and when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. Safely. Why is it safe when we know joy and woe? Because we're not afraid. We're willing to accept the good and the bad, so we have confidence to deal with things. We have, no matter how crazy things are on the outside, I have to show my hand to demonstrate that I'm talking in my hand. No matter how crazy things are on the outside, internally you're balanced. Because you can accept the bad things and the good things. You recognize that life is not like disastrous if something bad happens to you. It's just that's what happens in life. So those turbulences, sit on your seat, fasten your seatbelt, they won't like freak you out. You won't get in a panic where you'll start thinking things are over, everything's gone bad, and you'll start making things worse by panicking and bring yourself down. The outside should be turbulent. It will always be like that sometime. But internally, you should be peaceful. Accept those, just ride along. Accept those turbulences. So that way you're not turbulent inside too, and then there'll be a resonance effect with the outside. And so the outside will, I want to say perturb, but that's not the right word, because the physicists always say perturb the system. If the outside, if the wind, the plane goes like dum internally, and you go dum, it's gonna have this amplifying effect each time that happens, and then there'll be violent, disastrous effects on the system. But if the planes are perturbed and you don't make it a big deal, and you stay even keel, and you just let it ride it out, eventually you're going to hit a pocket of nice, smooth air for nice sailing. Or if you don't, you just kind of ride it on. You keep riding on. Man was made for joy and woe. It's important that woe comes last, not woe and joy. Joy, right? Man was made for joy. Everybody's like, oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that thought. Right on, man. Man was made for joy. You got my vote. Put that on a bumper sticker. And woe. Oh, wait, hold on now. Nobody said anything about woe. We thought everything was going to be great. No. Man was made for joy and woe. Okay? You got to recognize both. If you just recognize the joy, you're not going to go through the world safely, because you're always going to come up with turbulent situations. And you have to be prepared for those, to accept them. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Along the same lines. It's not more admirable to always have easy, nice, pleasant life. That's not the divine soul, because it never tests you. You don't get the chance to really explore who you are.